I see you a minute, please, 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 please,
Sorry about that. Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday morning. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for all the awesome support this past Saturday. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you, Bleep Blop Ben. Thank you, Mark Monkey, for the massive raids yesterday. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We've got plenty of headlines to go through. And we've got to catch up on some as well that we couldn't get to last week. Alright, let me get myself situated and we should be starting in just a second. Alright, perfect. Cool. Got the music going. Alright. Let's talk about COVID for a second. Omicron fuels unprecedented spike in COVID cases. True. The Omicron variant is fueling an unprecedented spike in COVID cases and placing a strain on hospital capacity. It's just out of sheer numbers at this point. It's just out of sheer numbers. And putting a strain on hospital capacity, but experts say that the spike could play out in the shape of an ice pick, a sharp but fast increase that may leave the US on better footing as soon as next month. I hope so. Hey Astro, how's it going? Happy Dappy Snappy Monday. Howdy. The US healthcare system is in for significant pain in the short term, but the fast surge could help defeat the pandemic in the long term by conveying broader immunity. I hope so. I hope so. Some experts are calling for people to buckle down for the last stretch of vigilant precautions like mask wearing in public indoor settings to spread the cases out and get hospitals through the next few weeks before the situation improves. Oh yeah, we gotta... Sorry. Oh man. Oof, that's naive. People caring about other people. It's been a very... it's been the core of this problem, I guess. We need to sort the last effort so we can make it in the spring. As Janice Orlowski, Chief Health Care Officer for the Association of American Medical Colleges, said in a press briefing. Some experts predict that cases could peak in the US later in January or February, though. Because of the large size of the country, certain areas will have localized spikes after current hard-hit areas like New York have already peaked. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said Friday the experience in South Africa indicates a precipitous increase and then a precipitous decline. So and then right back down. Hopefully. Carlos Del Rio, an infectious disease expert professor at Emory University, predicted the national peak could come between the third week of January or the first and second week of February. Once the high transmission Omicron variant burns through the population, the outlook will be improved. I hope so. I mean, I hope so. Jesus. I don't know how things are going to play out, but I certainly hope so. Ooh. Sorry, I didn't put on my full lights. You are my go-to for politics and climate. Thank you, I appreciate that. let's get on a little bit of a brighter light. There we go. At this rate, we may actually really be able to reach herd immunity because we're going to get so many people in the population infected. At some point in time, we may be sort of the beginning of the end of the pandemic, at least in this country. I hope so. We'll see. During a discussion hosted by Emory University, because Omicron is really going to infect pretty much everybody who hasn't been infected so far. Experts still stress that it's far better to get immunity from vaccinations and boosters without getting sick, rather than getting the virus, which can be lingering effects even if it's not bad enough to require hospitalization. True. The symptoms of the Omicron are milder on average, and people who are vaccinated and boosted are especially well protected against severe disease, but even only a small percentage of cases requiring hospitalization. The sheer number of total cases means overwhelmed hospitals. Right, exactly as I was saying earlier. It's just the sheer numbers. We are overrun, said Orlowski of AAMC, which represents teaching hospitals across the country. Hey, Alio, how's it going? The US is recording more than 700,000 new cases per day and climbing, an unprecedented number, though between the protections from the vaccination and Omicron's diminished severity, many are mild or asymptomatic. Still, hospitalizations from COVID are spiking to over 128,000 according to the New York Times tracker, though. Deaths so far have stayed relatively steady, about 1,400 a day. Yeah, like, imagine being like just casually saying like, oh yeah, just casually about 1,400 per day. How long has it been now? Jesus Christ. But I don't want infections. Yeah, no one should. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Orlowski and Del Rio said about a third of the patients in hospital with viruses are not sick solely because of COVID, but have other conditions that in some cases are exacerbated by having the virus too. Some hospitals are reported to have many as roughly half of patients testing positive were not primarily in the hospital because of COVID, so it's spreading within the hospitals. Jesus. Del Rey said that among patients solely in the hospital for COVID, about 80 to 90% are unvaccinated, of course, or in some cases have received 2 doses of vaccine without the booster and have underlying conditions. Hospital staffing shortages from workers having been burned out, and left over the past 2 years, or from workers currently being home with the virus themselves, are adding to the strain. True. The percent of ICU is much lower, but that doesn't mean we're not getting overwhelmed. Yeah, it's just basically like sheer numbers at this point. Sheer numbers. For unvaccinated people infected with Omicron, Liana Wen, a public health professor at George Washington University, said it is unclear if there's new variants that arises in 6 months or a year. Will they be protected if they refuse to get vaccinated? At this point, I have a serious concern that governments are beginning to withdraw support and suppression of the virus. I believe now they're going to let people get hospitalized and die and just live with whatever dangerous strain is around at that time. Economy, well, that seems to be the case here, as we're not really getting that much support from the federal government. And I suspect that it's just going to be like that, Oh, I mean, we're just going to have to do what we always do and just be okay with, what? 1,400 a day? Yeah, I guess that's just the new normal. Advocates have long pushed the Biden administration to step up its efforts to vaccinate the world to help cut the development of new variants. Few experts are calling for shutdowns like they were in the early days, but steps like mandating vaccinations to eat in restaurants or go to a concert, as several large U.S. cities have already done, would help. Better availability of rapid tests have also been a major pressure point on the Biden administration. Yeah, testing for sure has been like an absolute nightmare. There's a current split, they said, between the very low risk individuals who are vaccinated and boosted on one hand, and the existential very high societal risk of the collapse of our healthcare system, largely fueled by unvaccinated people. But even vaccinated people are harmed by overwhelming hospitals if they have a life-threatening medical event such as a heart attack or bodily trauma from like a car crash. Yeah, like I think that this is a good point to say. Like, for example, if we have a hospital system that is currently at capacity, or sometimes in a lot of cases they're above capacity, right? Some are operating like at 110%. If somebody comes in that has absolutely nothing to do with COVID, nothing, regardless of status, but has an emergency that has nothing to do with COVID, yeah, you're kind of screwed, right? And therein lies the problem, right? But, you know, it may have a long-term beneficial effect for a combination of reasons, leading with the fact that the spike is going to be quick. I hope so. And then secondarily, the fact that many people may be protected by having been exposed. Yeah, I guess. It's one way. The silver lining of the whole thing, right? The silver lining of the whole thing. My mom works at an assisted... Hey, Thandera, first and foremost, how's it going? My mom works at an assisted living facility that has full-time nurses, and she got COVID the same day I did. And wanted her back at work last week, but she was still so sick she worked from bed, and today she had to go back. They don't want her to test for 90 days. It doesn't make sense to me. Yikes. Is your mom's facility like so understaffed that they're willing to roll the dice on this? Because assisted living facility makes me think that they are like older people, and out of like any age group, you would want to make sure that those folks are good. I don't get it. Do they have like understaffing issues? I mean, it doesn't make it okay regardless, but... They wanted her back last week, the last day of our quarantine, without testing in 90 days. I guess staffing is low. Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, that's the only thing. I mean, it doesn't make it right. I'm just saying, like, what is the explanation for this? And my mom's boss just quit? Jesus. Remember, there's money to be made out of sick people, and the poor, marginalized people are most likely to die. Well, I mean, here, yeah, here, that is the case. Here, that is the case. Not good. Not good. We're also seeing an uptick of pediatric hospitalizations across the country. So yeah. Again, the problem isn't like it's unbelievably like omega like triggering when I see like people trying to argue that the death rate isn't that high or whatever. Yes, that's true, but if everybody's sick and nobody's able to work, then like it's kind of a big problem, isn't it? One example. Just like, I know, Anecdote Andy. I know, Anecdote Andy. But at my dealership shop, right, the shop that I always take the car to if I have any issues, is currently, we're at, what, day 5. Day 5, working on the car because, well, there's not enough people. They're all sick. Okay? They're all sick. And I'm sure most of them, I'm sure they're all going to be fine. But they're all sick. And now, you got shortages and all of this kind of domino effects. It's not just, you know... people just, I think, are short-sighted. But she works literally with sick elderly, so I'm confused because it's the CDC. I don't know. I don't even know. And bad incompetent management, true. True. It doesn't make any sense. None of this is making any sense. Because I have COVID, I have to test negative just to go in and take my test. Wow. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't know how that works, but yeah. Ideally, if you had COVID, or if you have COVID or experiencing COVID, you would want... Oh, okay, I'm confused. Okay, I got you, Thandara. You would want to make sure that, you know, you're negative before you go back to school, I guess, in your case, or wherever it is that you need to do your work, so on and so forth, ideally. So last week was the week of January 6th, and there were several speeches going around. We all saw the delusional Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene's press briefing. But the day after, or the same day actually, the same day, Donald Trump made a post in his Save America website, donaldjtrump.com. Except, when you try to go back to it, that's kind of weird. He deleted it. He deleted it. He deleted it. But the internet never forgets. The internet never forgives. We've got it. Don't worry, Donald. We've got it. So this was the response to the Biden speech. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. To watch Biden speaking is very hurtful to many people. Who's many people? To who's it hurtful? They're the ones who tried to stop the peaceful transfer with a rigged election. Here we go. Here we go. No, it was not a rigged election. Just look at the numbers. Does anybody really think that Biden beat Obama with the black population in select swing cities, but nowhere else? Wait, what? Okay. That he would lose 18 out of 19 bellwether states, 27 out of 27 toss-up House races, but somehow miraculously received the most votes in American history with no coattails. I have no idea what that means. And this is check, and you know, this may be wild, but it is true. There are more people now. I know. There's just physically more people. So yes, it is going to be the most votes in American history. Furthermore, there was a unprecedented participation in this election. So yeah, that he would lose Florida, Iowa, and win, even though that has never been done before. That's a fallacious thought process there. That's a fallacious thought process. Just because it has never been done before doesn't mean it can happen. Like, I don't get it. This isn't a hard thing, but I guess it's Donald Trump. Howdy, Bow. Howdy, howdy. I think governments and leaders are becoming schizoid. Well, with mail-in voting, it was easier for people to vote. Yeah, that's also true. They spread a web of lies. Yikes. Yikes. About me and Russia for 4 years to try to overturn the 2016 election, and now hold on. Just because they made a mess of this whole thing doesn't mean they were trying to overturn the 2016 election. Okay. And now they lied about how they interfered in the 2020 election too. Big tech was used illegally. I'm still not sure what that means. It's safe to say that that's a lie. It makes sense that if Biden didn't coattail that he would lose more than half of the toss-up races. Yeah, I don't know. We're looking at a delusional rant from a delusional narcissistic person, so it doesn't have to make sense. Where did all these votes turn up from Georgia? What? What are you talking about? It was just revealed they sold ballots for 10 apiece. Wow. Hey folks, apparently in Georgia, they were selling ballots for 10 apiece. Apparently. Of course, he's going to provide copious amount of evidence to prove this. Of course he is. We're in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin. He acts like he's aggrieved, but we're the ones who are aggrieved. Well, I mean, we're all aggrieved in the sense that you still can't come off this delusion. And America's suffering because of it. With poisonous borders? What? Record inflation? What? This has nothing to do with the election. A humiliating surrender in Afghanistan. $5 gallon gas and higher. That's not true. Come on. That may have been like in some areas in like California. Empty stock shelves because of supply chain issues, yes. Rampant crime. Not sure that has to do with Biden. America is a laughingstock of the world. Not really. And it's all because of the real insurrection, which took place November 3rd. Oh, okay, I see. So basically, like, this is stochastic terrorism. This is probably why he took it down. This is probably why he took it down. I see. So the real insurrection was when people voted you out. But this is an election year, and MAGA Republicans should get elected and work with me to fix this horror that Biden and the Democrats have brought us. Never forget the crime of 2020 presidential election. Never give up. So, like, again, this is some just like beyond wild claims that this dude is making, and furthermore, the implicit the implicit calls to violence are just kind of baked in, right? This is stochastic terrorism. The real insurrection, he's calling the election that was perfectly fine. There's no real evidence to suggest that there was any, like, shenanigans going on in any widespread capacity to overturn the election result. There's, like, literally no evidence of that, okay? We've gone over this. We've gone over this by audits, okay? We've done counts, recounts, audits, court cases. The election was fine. The dude drew a hurricane weather map with a Sharpie. True. They found some mutated Delta on Omicron virus in Cyprus. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Have you looked up Jovan Purlitzer by any chance? I have no idea who this is. Oh, is this a clown? Yeah, this is just some clown. Okay. Yeah, no, this is just some clown. No, thank you. The elections wasn't fine. Republican mailed in ballots for their dead grandparents. Nah, he's a clown. Next. Republicans mailed in ballots for their dead grandparents. Okay, so yes, that happened in some cases. However, the amount of fraudulent votes, like, were 0.00001%, right? Yeah, exactly, right. It's a joke. You're right. It's a joke. Senate Homeland Security Committee finished their investigations on the 6th. What? Oh, you made it. Oh, okay. But that's true though. That did happen. Rye, you're not wrong. That did happen. that did happen. The job talking points and Biden will make the country go to hell. Yeah, that's every election cycle, right? I'm sorry, Dick Johnson. I'm not entertaining wild conspiracy theories from an absolute quack. Okay? The irony is funny, true. Anyways, so yes, there have been individual cases of, obvious voter fraud and whatever, but it's just pretty standard for every election to the point where it has, like, Kinetic Pause just said, it has no real, like, any material effect whatsoever. And here we have Donald Trump saying that the real insurrection, like, I want people to take this in, right? I want people to take this in. Here Donald Trump is literally saying that the real insurrection was the election itself. I mean, like, when you feed this to people, and if I could find it, because right now, he took it down, but it's readily available. I can see it, okay? It didn't take me that long to pull it back from the Wayback Machine or from the archives, right? If people read this, and his delusional supporters read this, what are you gonna get from this, right? If you've already bought in to the idea that the election was rigged and blah, 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 the conspiracy, right? The nonsense conspiracy. If you've already bought into it, and the person who continues to perpetuate it, mind you, months before the election, we did a video on this, months before the election, he was priming the pump saying that it was going to be rigged. If he lost, it was going to be rigged. No doubt about it. He was already priming the pump, and then it happened. So now people are already in that mindset. He does the whole thing on January 6th. And now, he's calling, and I've never heard him say this before, but he's calling the actual election the real insurrection. If you are one of these people, and you are listening to this, and you're watching this, and you're saying, and the message that you get is, holy crap, the real insurrection was the actual election. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing else but violent recourse of action. That's literally what it's leading people to do. That's what literally it's going to lead people to do. Older people tend to vote Republicans. These old celebrities are dying. Is it hard to see the connection? I don't get what you're saying. The Remix Bros is genius? No, man. Hey, chat, can we, like, take our tinfoil hats off? Please? Tinfoil hats off. If I have to judge by the rallies, good thing rallies don't determine elections. You okay, buddy? Did you stumble in here by accident? Rallies don't determine elections, my dude. Just saying. You should know that. You should know, like, rallies don't determine an election, right? Votes do. What happens when an irremovable beanie meets an unstoppable object? Then why did you mention it, D. Johnson? Hello? Come on, man. You have to prove that there was fake votes. Alright, listen. Send me the evidence of fake votes, and then we'll talk. Send me the evidence. Come on. You got any evidence? No evidence? Alright, goodbye. It's really quick. It's really that simple. If you want to come in here and make some asinine claims, you better have something to back it up. Or else, first of all, if you don't have any evidence except one dude in the internet who's an absolute crackpot, maybe you should rethink those positions. If I'm believing that the sky is green, right, because some dude on BitChute told me that the sky was green, maybe I should probably, you fake? Why is that auto-modded? Sorry about that. Yeah, if I start believing that the sky is green because I saw some BitChute video, then, maybe I should rethink how I got here. It's asinine. Imagine some people wouldn't want to go to a rally during a pandemic. It's just, just imagine. I know, right? Like, imagine. It's been a year, get over it. True. The problem is they haven't, and the reason why they haven't, and largely been moved by this, it largely have remained constant is because of this guy. Literally, this guy is actually out here saying that the real insurrection is the actual election on November 3rd. That's the insurrection. Like, what are people supposed to get from that other than, well, we have no other course. We gotta do the violence. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't want MAGA or trying to make them unemployable. What do you think of the talks in Geneva between Russia and USA? I have no idea. I'm actually pretty ignorant when it comes to foreign policy, so I usually keep my mouth shut. Anyways, this guy's delusional. Stop listening to him. Please, give it up already, okay? I've gone to Trump's website once, scary stuff. Yeah, like, he deleted it. He deleted this, like, delusional rant, by the way. It's gone. Hey, Spread It Forward, how's it going? I got the cliff notes. It's nothing unexpected. Russia made impossible demands of moving NATO out of Eastern Europe, or most of Europe. It's not going to happen. Yep. Hey, Zeoduke, how's it going? It's probably going to come down to they want sanctions to end and the West wants them to stop in Ukraine first. Well, I have no idea. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what's happening with that. I have no idea. I'm super ignorant when it comes to foreign policy. If they go further with the sanctions, I wonder how Europe is going to get their energy when they're forbidden to buy it from Russia. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't even know if, like, is Russia such a big player in energy? I have no idea. Yes? Okay, maybe. I have no idea. You guys can speak about it. The high-res showcase between 5 to 9, I'm not sure why advertising it's a year in advance. What? These are just random ads generated by an app. Gazprom is one of the biggest natural gas providers in that region. Gotcha. To stop decommissioning nuclear plants instead of using Russian gas. Hey, that's an idea. I actually saw that kinetic pods. I think we actually went over an article where a European country was decommissioning a nuclear plant in favor, I think it was the UK, in favor of coal or something like that. And it's like, why? Why? If the nuclear plant is already there, why would you revert back to gas or coal? That's wild. France has already reversed its stance on nuclear power? What do you mean? I heard that in Germany. Oh, Germany. Gotcha. Okay, maybe I have it wrong. But it was reverting to natural gas rather than coal. Still, fossil fuels, not good. Not good. I don't get why you would decommission a nuclear plant in favor of natural gas or even coal. It's like we're going backwards. Fukushima Daiichi? Yeah, fine. That's fair, but like, was that like a legitimate risk at this time? Or usually, then the solution would be, well, you gotta upkeep it, right? I mean, I think that if you already have if you already have a nuclear power plant on board, it would then be worst to revert back to fossil fuels. I don't get it. France used to be near power self-sufficiency, but it started decommissioning them a decade ago, but Macron reversed that policy. Jesus. I heard China just fired up their fusion reactor for 17 minutes. That's true. That's true. We'll see if they can actually make it so that it's stable, because that's actually a good step forward. That's an interesting step forward. That's for sure. So, yeah, nice try, buddy, but the internet is forever. The internet is forever. Lots of progress recently in fusion tech around the world. That's good, sort of. Olympic gold. Olympic mental gymnastics Jim Jordan becomes the second member of Congress that he won't cooperate with the January 6th Select Committee investigation. Why? Representative Jim Jordan has refused to voluntarily cooperate with the January 6th selective investigation of the Capitol insurrection. In a letter to committee chair, Representative Benny Thompson, Jordan said that his request for him to provide information about his communication with former President Trump regarding his insurrection is far outside the bounds of any legitimate inquiry, violates core constitutional principles, and would serve to further erode legislative norms. Huh. Gotcha, Sicarius. The French approach is due to age and decommissioning issues around the old-style nuclear power stations. Maybe, but, like, to go back to fossil fuels is not a good look. It's not the right way. We should be moving towards renewable. Jim Jordan's base must be heavy MAGA land, so he's playing to that? Yikes. His reply, Jordan said that he had no relevant information and would assist the Select Committee in advancing the legitimate legislative purpose. Yeah, I don't know. Congressman, he said he was performing official duties as a lawmaker when he spoke with Trump's administration in the months leading up to the riot. Jordan also accused the committee of being partisan. Sorry, dude. Listen, any Republican who is saying that this is just a partisan committee, buddies, you all had the opportunity to have a complete split down the middle, bipartisan, full subpoena powers, both 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, with equal subpoena power. And you all said no. You all said no. On December 20th, Thompson also sent a letter requesting a sit-down meeting with Representative Scott Perry, a Republican from Pennsylvania. The committee said they wanted to discuss a conversation Perry might have had about replacing acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen with Jeffrey Clark, a lawyer who promoted unsubstantiated claims that the 2020 election was stolen. Jesus Christ. The day after Thompson's letter, Perry said he declined to comply with the committee's request. Thompson did not respond to Insider's email request for comments at the time of publication. Insider was unable to reach Jordan and Perry for comment. Yeah, I bet. Rolls-Royce are developing micronuclear power stations that can be built underground near towns with no pollution. It depends, because what if said nuclear issues happen and said nuclear issues underground get into the water? I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm always skeptical of these Elon Musk-esque ideas. They always seem flimsy to me. Yeah, they never really they never really plan out the way you want them to, and furthermore, they end up becoming like look, we have technology right now, that we could be deploying on a mass scale, that could provide jobs, that could provide renewable energy, and that's what we should be doing. Period. Full stop. End of story. That's what we should be doing. We have cheap, known technology right now for renewable energy that can work. Among other things that we can deploy right now, but we just aren't. That's true. They're excessively rare. I think like the issue would then be like making sure that you get all of these things up online. First of all, the cost and the timetable that we have would also come into play. Meme article of the day. The Donald Trump supporter hired to run a review of the 2020 election in Arizona told the state Senate president that he's starting a new company with some of the same employees as Cyber Ninjas. Cyber Ninjas, if you guys remember, is the company that did the umpteenth audit in Arizona and found no significant difference. No difference in the results. I mean, the definition of insanity is legitimately counting the same votes over and over again and expecting different results. The old firm says as he's closing its face as it faces massive court fines for refusing to release public records. Cyber Ninja's founder, Doug Logan, told Republican Senate President Karen Fann in a text message that he was unable to sell the firm because of too much negativity around the name. That's a you problem. That he plans to sell off all its assets to pay debts and eventually file for bankruptcy. Womp, womp, womp. His lawyer says Logan can't fulfill a court order to release public records because the company has no money, even though Trump allies raised millions of dollars fleecing their supporters. Fleecing their supporters based on an entire fictional conspiracy theory that was never found to be remotely true. Fleecing millions of dollars out of their supporters in an unprecedented partisan election review. Logan did not say whether his new firm would essentially the same work as Cyber Ninjas, but he said that his efforts, they're ninjas, alright, yeah, they disappeared, look at that. His efforts have been running into obstacles. He told the Associated Press he's not trying to circumvent the court fines and public records, but he needs to work. If Cyber Ninjas goes out of business, I either need to get a job with someone else, damn, that's unfortunate, or start from scratch with a new company. The latter is the route I chose to go. So they're gonna try to reform themselves. I suspect that the reason why they didn't release the results of their audit is because there was already like preliminary. There's already reports out there that the findings of this third-party Cyber Ninja thing was that it's the same results. Same results. But, you know, the grift keeps on grifting. Gotta fleece all these people out of as many pennies as possible. You gotta fleece your supporters. Yeah, I don't know about like terrorist attacks. Y'all are on some other tip today. Anyways, nice meme. So very good, very awesome. Senator Ron Johnson announces that he will run for a Senate term third term in the Senate in Wisconsin. Senator Ron Johnson announced Sunday that he will run for re-election in November, setting up a high-stakes Senate battle in a key swing state. Johnson's decision to run for a third term breaks a vow he made in 2016 campaign that he'd only seek 2 6-year stints in the Senate. No way. Politician lying? However, he had increasingly sent signals that he planned to run again in November, maintaining his fundraising and making frequent appearances on Fox News. Yeah, like, this is the same, I swear, if the Democratic Party runs Joe Biden after Joe Biden said that he was going to be a, he said that he was going to be a one-term president, and there are rumors that he's planning to run again. Alright, chat, easy. Alright, that's enough. That's enough, folks. Focus, chat. Focus. Remember, statistics don't lie. Statistics don't lie, but I can make numbers say what I want them to be. I can make numbers say what I want them to say. Ron Johnson is just as psycho as Holly. Yeah, but Holly's a bit smarter, I think. That's the problem with him. I wish we could have had Bernie. Yeah, well, same, but here we are. If you guys want to fight about this, take it to DMs. Anyways, yeah, this is like Joe Biden saying that he would be a one-term president, but then he's probably gonna try to run again, which would be ridiculous. In a statement and an op-ed into the Wall Street Journal, Johnson said that he would prefer to retire, but cast his decision to run for re-election as one made to fight against the Democrats' unified control in Washington and disastrous policies. Yes, very unified control. We've all seen just how much unified control the Democratic Party has. As a great man once said, men lie and women lie, but numbers don't lie, yo. No, numbers don't lie, but they can say what I want them to say. During the 2016 campaign, I said it would be my last campaign and final term. That was my strong preference, and wives, we both looked forward to a normal private life. We both, neither of us anticipated the Democrats' complete takeover of government. Complete. And the disastrous policies they've already inflicted on America and the world. Wait, what? The Democratic Party? The Democratic Party enacted policies? What? Wow. These are some... Can we get an example of this? I need an example. Lies demand lies in statistics. Numbers lie depending on who's saying them and what they're referring to. Well, yeah, what I mean is that, like, statistics, meaning that, like, the numbers themselves aren't false unless you're purposely fudging numbers, but, like, that would be just lying. But my point is that numbers, generally speaking, when you do, like, studies and stuff like that, numbers don't, generally speaking, don't lie. But you can finagle said numbers that are real and make them say the story that you want them to say. Numbers still require interpretation, which leave room for manipulation. Right. That's what I'm saying. The numbers are legit, but I can use that, and I can then spin those numbers, which are true, and then say, all right, well, I'm gonna make them say what I want them to say. So yes, I can make them say what I want them to say. Johnson also forecast a fierce campaign, warning that Democrats would attack him with language offering a nod to top culture war issues for the GOP. Tens of millions of dollars will be spent trying to destroy and defeat me. The mainstream media and big tech will contribute their powerful and corrupt voices as the unofficial but reliable communication apparatus of the Democrats. We face powerful forces. Wait, what? That desire even more power and control over our lives. Their path, paved with false hope and greater dependency, always leads to tyranny. We cannot let them win. The announcement comes against the backdrop of what is anticipated to be a fearsome battle for the Senate, which currently is divided at 50-50. Any one seat could decide which party controls the upper chamber come 2023, and both Republicans and Democrats have clamored for Johnson to make his bid official. Republicans boast that Johnson is their strongest candidate in the Badger State. The unseated former Senator Russ Feingold in the Tea Party wave in 2010. Oof, yikes. Overcoming a tightening Wisconsin politics despite being left for dead, he was similarly abandoned by the party establishment in 2016 when he unexpectedly fended off Feingold in a rematch. A victory GOP operative suggests highlights a unique connection Johnson employs with the Wisconsin electorate. Right. This is why, like, we went over we went over a article that said that in a generic battle versus a D and an R, generally speaking, the Ds have like a tiny bit more of an edge, but I said that that's not exactly a good metric, because if someone like Johnson enjoys for whatever the reason is, a connection with the electorate, then they're gonna vote for him. You've got to give people something to vote for. I'm agreeing with your point 100%, just paraphrasing. Gotcha. Thank you for the follow, Eric Hearts. Hearts? Thank you for the follow. Johnson is anticipated to cruise to the nomination, another advantage in addition to his already high name recognition as Democrats battle it out in a crowded primary. However, Democrats too have clamored for Johnson to run again. The urge runs counter to conventional wisdom, which contends that open seats are typically easier to flip than going against a sitting incumbent with an existing campaign bank account and large name recognition. This is the naive concept of, oh, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Eric Harris, thank you. That makes a lot more sense. I knew that, of course. So when did Boris Johnson move to Wisconsin? That's funny. Yeah, if their plan is to want this guy to run because their plan is going to be, well, he's just a Trump Republican, or he's just like a Trumper that is on this whole like election conspiracy and all that, and they're thinking that that's going to be their own downfall. They're 100% wrong. Okay, the Democratic Party is 100% wrong. If they feel like this guy is just going to hang himself politically, they're wrong. You need to get out there and you need to give people something to vote for. Okay, you can't just rely on this idea that they want to let this guy run because they think that he's like Looney Tunes and is gonna lose. No. Ron Johnson isn't dumb. He knows exactly what he's doing and it's gonna work for the Republicans. I wish Dems would get spines like the GOP does. Well. Tina! How's it going? Look, Kevin, how's it going? Hey, look at that. Look at that. We got some, fantastic folks here. Chat, if you don't already follow or support, make sure you hit that follow button on Tina_2. Go show some support. And same for the Kevin FM. Alright? Just go do it. Just go do it. Howdy, Tina. How's it going? Hope you're doing alright. Sourcing support rating with a party of 27. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look at that. Got a massive raid. Mr. Geek, how's it going? Memo for the record, how's it going? Oh my goodness. How do I keep up with all these wonderful folks? Thank you so much, Sourcing. I appreciate that. Doing good. How about you? I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Folks, there's some awesome people in chat. If you see a little diamond next to people, make sure you go support them. All right, make sure you go support them. Do it. Remember to click on ADT's beautiful face to make your view count true. True. I appreciate that, Sourcing. Welcome everybody. Folks, if you don't know who we are a Difficult Truth. We do Mondays. No. This is how you know it's a Monday stream, alright? This is how you know it is a Monday stream. We do news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Join us on Saturdays for Saturday Catterday, about noon Eastern Time. Casual callouts, thank you for the follow, appreciate that. No Mondays, only Fridays and Catterdays. True. True. Join the Discord if you guys want to keep up with the channel, and head on over to the YouTube and click that little subscribe button. It does help us out. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. And as casual callouts, just hit that follow button. You do get 5 free emotes. Republican voters said they wanted secure elections, and the GOP-led government said less, and they all passed legislation. Right. Like, when it comes to like election security or integrity or whatever, ask yourselves what evidence is there to suggest that there is a necessity for legislation. It's kind of like the idea of if it's not broken, don't fix it. Because like the way, at least the way we count, gather, and conduct elections has been undeniably pretty robust. The way we conduct, the process by which we conduct elections and count election ballots or whatnot has been pretty robust. Okay, it's one of like the things that seems to me goes pretty smooth 99.9% of the time. It just does what it needs to do. It's one of those rare things, right? Our election process, the way we have everything set up, and seems to be pretty robust, right? Why would you need to fix that? What what evidence is there that there's some serious problems behind our electoral system? What evidence that it's such a big problem that we need to like adjust? Because if it is, then yeah, of course we need to address it, but where is that evidence? The problem is we don't speak on the same framework of understanding. Conservatives talk about voter fraud, which isn't really a thing. So they sometimes actually mean election fraud, but the two things are conflated and their actions are all based on addressing the voter fraud, which doesn't happen. Right. And then you'd have to also explain to me, you're right, you would also have to explain to me where this entire election fraud is happening too, because that would mean a wider, coordinated effort. In which case, that's deeply disturbing. Show me where that's happening to the point where, our system, or like the way our things function, don't catch it, which they do, by the way. And B, how did it change the election results? How, like, first of all, did it happen? No. And B, were the results any different? No. So then where's this election security and integrity thing coming from? That's the question that you need to ask yourself then. Because if you're a Republican governor and you're like, yeah, we gotta work on election integrity, we gotta fix problems and things and stuff. Okay, I mean, yeah, election security should be something that everybody wants to be on board with. Okay, exactly where did this happen again? And how? Yeah. That's what I thought. The urge runs counter to conventional wisdom, which contends that open seats are typically easier to flip than going against a sitting incumbent with an existing campaign, bank account, and large name recognition. But party operatives point to outlandish oh no. Oh no. Oh god. But Democratic, so just to be clear, but Democratic Party operatives point to outlandish comments on COVID, election, racial protests, and more, and view him as vulnerable. What did I say? This is a mistake. Okay? This is a massive, naive, or maybe on purpose, I don't know, I can't tell. Quite frankly, it's getting frustrating. They're going to rely on this guy's outlandish comments, thinking that he's going to lose, and that's why they prefer him to run, because they believe in their heads, these Democratic operatives believe that his outlandish comments on whatever X, Y, and Z are going to be the rope that hangs him politically. That's so naive. Either that's so short-sighted. That's so short-sighted. It is unbelievable to me that this is the strategy that they're going to plan to use. We need evidence, but I don't mind additional election security. I don't see any harm that can come from it. Unfortunately, they only want to introduce laws that are on voter fraud, which again isn't a thing. Yeah, like, it depends on what you mean by like additional election security, because obviously, like I said, people generally speaking are on board to make sure our elections are safe, make sure our elections are good, they run smoothly, everybody's able to vote as quickly, as easy, and as accessible as possible. Yes, I think everybody, the overwhelming majority of people, just in general, do like that. That's perfectly fine. But that's not what's happening, like you said, sourcing. Chris Kobach of Kansas helped do election fraud to get Trump elected, and then got hired to find voter fraud, found 1,000 votes in the past 100 years. Wow, amazing, good job. You found 1,000 votes. Wow, just, damn. Really doing the people's job here. If saying outrageous shit was going to make Republicans lose their seats, that would have happened years ago. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is so naive. This is so, like, beyond ridiculous. That this is a strategy that the Democratic Party is going to use. They want him to run because they believe in their heads that him saying all this outrageous stuff is going to make him lose. That's just beyond naive or on purpose. I don't know which one. I don't know which one. Johnson has been dogged by criticism of provocative remarks since 2010 when he said sunspots were more likely to contribute to climate change than human behavior. 2010, folks. This is pre-Trump era. This is pre-Trump era. If saying things like Tendara just pointed out, some outrageous asinine comments. If saying some asinine, like absurd comments by saying things like sunspots were more likely to contribute to climate change than human behavior. In 2010, when we were pretty much like moving in the direction of like, hey, it's been decades, we need to start moving on this thing. There's been plenty of evidence back then in 2010 urging people to move on the climate crisis, which we're now seeing the result of that, or at least the opening salvos of our inaction happening. This is just a ridiculous comment. And yet, he won all his elections twice. Hey, Doc, how's it going? He won twice. This is a back-assward strategy. I'm sorry. If this is the Democratic Party's plan, this is just not good. This is just not good. This is unbelievably naive, short-sighted, bad. I don't know what other words we can use. Stupid, ridiculous. Why is this your strategy? Holy yikes. Right, Tendera. So why is the Democratic Party thinking that this is what's going to make them win? Election security on voting machines is a major potential issue. I don't see any strong evidence that it has been a widespread problem, but technology is full of holes. Yeah, sure. Like if you want to propose like election security things, or like we update, whatever holes we have, or we have a better way of monitoring any potential breaks, sure, absolutely. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with what the GOP has capitalized on based on an entire conspiracy theory. But yes, you are correct. I agree with you, sourcing. Oh my god. If this is your grand plan, this is unbelievable to me. This is unbelievable to me. Like, for a long time, I think like people on the left have been saying like, I think they just want to lose. Damn, Jesus. The Democratic Party has a plan? You mean other than just hanging out in Elysium listening to overpaid and underperforming campaign consultants and collecting money from donors? Color me skeptical. I mean, there's no okay, so either party operatives, Democratic Party operatives, are just unbelievably incompetent. Either Democratic Party operatives are so unbelievably incompetent that they are actually thinking that this is a legitimate strategy, or it's on purpose. This is not the way you win elections. This is not the way you win elections. In my opinion, the best way to win elections is to give people things to vote for. Is to tune into your base and get and give people things to vote for. That's it. Tune into your base and give people things to vote for. That is why they were successful in Georgia. That is why they were successful in Georgia. We should reform our two-party election system before we're focusing on securing something that's secure. Yeah, I mean, we can walk and chew gum, I think. I think that, well, to be quite frank, there's so many things that I would like to see changed, but... Most recently, however, he's commented that mouthwash has been proven to kill COVID and questioned the point of vaccine if fully vaccinated individuals can still catch COVID. He's also been a vocal proponent of the election audit in Wisconsin and praised rioters who stormed the Capitol as people who love this country. Yeah, sure. Those comments are more and more expected to be featured heavily in attack ads by Democrats who are chomping at the bit to take on the two-term senator. Democrats also noted that Johnson is closely allied with President Trump, who narrowly lost Wisconsin in 2020. Ron Johnson is what you get when you have QAnon and Tea Party have a baby, and I hope he does run. His candidacy makes the race far more competitive for Democrats. Wisconsin Democratic consultant Ben Knuckles told The Hill. Wrong. This is a terrible, terrible strategy. This is so bad. This is so bad. Why? Holy... Like... Is it too much to ask to run on something? And then, like, deliver? I think that this is where we're having the disconnect here, right? Because they saw success by running on a pretty okay platform. I mean, it wasn't perfect, and certainly I could ask more. But, you know, certainly, parts of their platform was pretty good. And they won Georgia. And now, having some ability to do some things, refuse to do said things, because they realize, holy yikes, we actually have to do things. Wait, we actually have to? Hold on. And now they're regressing. They're regressing by attempting to deploy the same losing strategy. Okay. Paper ballots everywhere. We do have paper ballots. I would say that most states have paper ballots. Among the Democrats running for the seat in the race are Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, State Treasurer Sarah Godlewski, Milwaukee Bucks Executive Alex Lastry, and Outagamie County Executive Tom Nelson. Democrats pounced on Johnson's announcement, noting his previous two-term pledge, casting the senator, who's independently wealthy, of looking out for his own interests over Wisconsinites. The only people celebrating Ron Johnson's announcements are his donors and corporate special interest groups that he's bailed out time and time again. Let's get to work and retire this failed senator. Okay, but you know how you do that? Is by giving people a reason to get out there and vote for you. And then, and this is true, deliver on said platform that people voted you in for. Right? That's it. That's it. That's it. Hey, how's it going? Howdy. This is just like, this is just wild. That this is such a hard concept to understand. You give people something to vote for, something that would meaningfully improve people's lives, and then, and hear me out, deliver. And then deliver. I know. I know it's a Hail Mary of a strategy. I know. It's a Hail Mary of a strategy. I know. No problem. Ron Johnson has spent the last decade catering to wealthy millionaires and corporate interests. Yeah, and this is Wisconsin, by the way. Wisconsin needs a senator that will promote Main Street solutions to our rigged economy, not another millionaire or billionaire. Wisconsin has decades been characterized by razor-thin margins in statewide contests and has been a top battleground for several consecutive cycles. Trump barely won the state in 2016 before losing it by a similarly tight margin in 2020. Wisconsin will also host a competitive gubernatorial election as Governor Tony Evers fights for a second term. This is unbelievably frustrating. I mean, it's not that difficult of a strategy. Just run on a good platform. Run on a robust platform that will meaningfully improve people's lives. And then do it. That's it. And then do it. If you get elected into office, that is a signal that this is what voters want, right? Because they saw your platform and they said, all right, let's do it. So then you gotta deliver, because the consistent problem has been that the Democratic Party runs on a somewhat robust platform, somewhat progressive platform, and they get elected because it's popular. I know, healthcare, very popular. The idea of eliminating student debt, which will instantly stimulate the economy, very popular. The child tax credits that was originally done by the Biden administration, very popular, very good program. And all you have to do is run on that and then deliver. That's it. Jesus Christ. And if you can't deliver, then you better be trying whatever ways you can and make the effort to, right? And make the effort to. But there has been no realistic effort to attempt to address income inequality. Not really. There's been no meaningful effort to address the abysmal minimum wage. There's been no real effort to address the climate crisis. And now, even the most robust attempt at doing something, which is arguably the Build Back Better plan, even that, the Democratic Party has been incapable of getting it together. Incapable. This is going to be a disaster. This is going to be a disaster. Speaking of labor, Amazon cuts paid COVID leave time for workers, allowing changes following the changes to CDC guidance. Nice. Amazon is cutting paid leave time for U.S. frontline workers who tested positive or have to positive for COVID or have to quarantine after exposure to the virus. All U.S.-based Amazon workers who test positive and those required to quarantine will now be eligible for 1 week or up to 40 hours of paid leave. According to a company that's sent to employees, which was viewed by CNBC, and Amazon spokesperson confirmed the policy change. The e-commerce giant initially offered 2 weeks, which is generally the days you need to quarantine, but whatever. Pay for any employee diagnosed with COVID or placed into quarantine, but shortened the paid leave to 10 days in line with earlier guidance. The company said it was adjusting its policy after reviewing the newly released guidelines. The move mirrors Walmart, of course, which, you got to stay competitive and got to make sure that you squash everything. Bob Dragon, how's it going? Do you really believe that they had any real intention of following through? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. But if you present me with a good platform, then I will be more inclined to vote for you if you have a better platform than the other candidate. That's how it works. I never know if you have any intention of following through with this. I never know. So, if you guys really want to know the TLDR of this article, it's get back to work, everybody. That's it. The real problem is that American voters did not deliver a majority to the Democrats in the three branches. The Senate was a big L. Well, even then, Astro, I believe that the Democratic Party made a huge win in Georgia to give them this opportunity. And I understand that they don't have like the super majority to go past the filibuster or whatever. I understand that, but they do have some ability to get something done. The point I'm trying to make is that I need to see some like, if you can't get it done, it's not because of lack of trying, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? If you can't get X, Y, or Z done, it isn't because you didn't try. It's because, you know, I don't know, the Republican Party is blocking you, or you just can't because of X, Y, like, you gotta give me something. Jesus Christ, is what I'm asking for. That's what I'm asking for. Anyways, back to work, everybody. That's the TLDR of this. The move mirrors that of Walmart, the nation's largest private employer, which announced on Wednesday would cut the pandemic-related paid leave in half. Cool. Nice. Great. Get back to work, everybody. Did you see the thing I sent you from NYT? I think you sent me something, and I don't know if that was here. Hold on. Even we gave a filibuster-proof majority to Obama, we didn't get a public option for healthcare insurance. A public option. Never mind a universal system. Never mind a universal system. We couldn't even get a public option. Nice meme. Oh, wait. Actually, I might have to go back to this at some point. I wonder how much Manchin is going to be pocketed for the last-minute change of heart. I don't know. The Dems were very fortunate to be +3 in the Senate in 2020. True. I agree, but if the voters delivered a 52 to the Dems, there would be a real way forward. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. If there was 52 Democratic senators, I still think we would be in the same boat. I'm just gonna be honest. Do you support celebrities running for politicians? No. No. Enough of that. Do we really think Democrats are going to do the things we vote them in for? Because I think we knew that the wealthy control both sides of this aisle. Maybe. The public option was the lowest bar, and the very least they could have done, and they decided not to. True. Yeah, so like... Yay. Alright, so maybe we can take a look at this in a second. Alright, speaking of the BBB. I say give it a go. Hard pass for me. That's enough celebrity politicians. I'm good. I'm good. No more Reagans, Schwarzeneggers, Trumps. No, I'm good. Pelosi says there's an agreement to be reached with Manchin on the BBB. Okay. Sure. House Speaker Pelosi said on Sunday that she believes a deal can still be reached. Oh wait, so a deal hasn't been... What? Oh, to be reached. Never mind, I misread that. With West Virginia President Joe Manchin on the president's $1.7 trillion social spending plan after negotiations were put on ice. Last month, in an interview with Face the Nation, Pelosi said that she'd spoken with Manchin over time and believes there's still a chance for Congress to get the bill to Mr. Biden's desk. Please vote for us. Please vote for us. I promise. I do think there's an agreement to be reached. It's so important for our country. Then do it. What's the problem here? Like, I don't get it. Like, President Manchin isn't negotiating in good faith. Okay? This isn't a negotiation. These are demands. Okay? A negotiation would be President Manchin conceding some points, but instead, he continues to make more demands. I don't, this isn't that, like, okay. Manchin pulled his support from Biden's $1.7 trillion tax and spending plan in December due to concerns over inflation, which were unfounded, the COVID pandemic, and the national debt. Again, this is a conservative trope. Delivering a near-fatal blow to the package is a key pillar of the president's domestic policy agenda. A Democratic senator has been at the crux of discussions over the proposal, which includes Democrats' plan to combat climate change, which is... Okay. Provide paid family leave, medical leave, expand healthcare coverage under the Affordable Care Act, and offer universal pre-K. All of these things would be nice. A version of Biden's package passed the House in November, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer set a date for late December, goal for it to clear the Senate, but as negotiations between Manchin and the White House began to break down just before the Christmas holiday over the measure, particularly regarding the expanded child tax credit, Senate Democrats shifted their focus on voting rights legislation. Okay. Pelosi said that last month the Democratic leaders are so hopeful that members could reach an agreement to the social spending plan that would lead to its passage. She reiterated on Sunday that her belief that the White House and Manchin could bridge their divide over the president's proposal. Pelosi said the order of legislative items currently being pursued in the Senate, voting rights first, followed by the domestic policy plan, is very appropriate. Yeah, okay. Sure. Sure. Whatever. There's nothing more important for us to do than protect our Constitution and democracy. What Republicans are doing across the country is a legislative continuation of what they did on January 6th, which is to undermine our democracy and undermine the integrity of our elections, to undermine the voting power, which is essence of a democracy. Look, I think we need to, I think we need to find a better way of using rhetoric, okay? I think we need to find a better way of using rhetoric. Hey, Lastu, how's it going? This is unacceptable. We have to do that bill. There's nothing more important bill that enables us to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. What? Still, the margins in this evenly divided Senate effectively make it impossible to get voting rights legislation. You know this. So then... This is so frustrating. If you know at this time that there is no possibility of you doing something, which I understand, expanding the ability to vote is very important, I get it, and is crucial. But if there's no point, if there's no possibility, I should say, not that there's no point, because there's obviously a point, but if there's no possibility of getting this on the board, getting this W on the board, but there is the possibility of getting several W's through budget reconciliation within the time that you have to meaningfully improve this country. Within the time that you have that. That's for sure. That's a given. There's several possibilities of several W's lined up perfectly for you within the budget reconciliation. Okay. I'm good today. Thank you. 2 days to my 50th birthday and stream party for it. What? What? Hey. Folks, make sure you join twitch.tv/LostStew in 2 days. Please. Show some birthday love, alright? This is just so backwards. Senate Republicans have on numerous occasions blocked legislation that would reform the nation's election laws from advancing, which requires 60 votes, Schumer said. And Schumer last week poured cold water on the possibility of making changes to the Electoral Count Act, which some lawmakers suggested could be updated in lieu of more sweeping voting rights legislation. Still, Pelosi and Democrats have to keep working to get voting rights legislation through both chambers of Congress. They're not only suppressing votes, suppressing the vote. What? They're nullifying elections. Wait. I understand that Republicans are absolutely abysmal when it comes to this, but are they going to the point of nullifying elections? I don't think so. Yeah, because I'm going to be 50 years old on January 10th, but you'll be here. And you'll be able to continue to spread your wisdom. And it's saying it doesn't matter who gets more votes, it matters who the three we appoint to analyze that and what they decide. We cannot let that happen. Alright. Look. Honestly, within the time that we have, within the tools that we have, this logic, this reasoning doesn't make any sense, okay? It doesn't make any sense. It's not gonna make any sense because they're gonna try to do something. They're gonna feign, oh, sorry, we can't do it because of, I don't know, we can't do it because of the Republican Party. Well, we tried, and then move on to the next thing, and then continue to not do a single thing. When in the background, there's a perfectly viable way of getting some W's on the board. Can you imagine if, like, the Democratic Party sat down and actually did what they're supposed to be doing, and sat down with this budget reconciliation bill, and actually got meaningful action for creating an economic boost using green renewable energy economy, making it robust for small businesses, expanding the child tax credits, maybe expanding medical leave, providing paid family and medical leave, I should say, providing, which was part of the original thing, 2 years community college. These are all W's that you can line up easily at like ducks in a row. You could literally line up these W's. Offer paid family leave, medical leave. Offer community college for 2 years. There's fear that if Trump runs and loses in 2024, the Republican state legislature will nullify the presidential election in favor of Trump, hence the proposal to modify the Electoral Count Act. Oh, I see. To be quite honest, Kinetic Pause, the way this is going, I think a Trump candidacy would win. The way, especially if if the Democratic Party decides to run Biden again, that would be a massive mistake. If creator's willing. Come on, Lasso. You got this. Instead of lining up W after W after W, which you could do in this sweeping, budget reconciliation, right? Instead of taking those W's, which are, first of all, meaningful, I would say that they are. If you expand the child tax credits, if you expand healthcare coverage, especially for the Medicare coverage for seniors, if you provide paid family leave and medical leave, these are undeniably positive things, and make sure that is like a thing. I mean, This is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable to me. Twitch doesn't control the national committees and Trump's interviews are getting worse. He's unhealthy. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think that people are going to not show up. That's my worry. That's my worry. I think people are just not going to show up. It's amazing how good things get intercepted before they make it to realization. It's like there are powers at work more respected than the will of the electorate. Sometimes that is the case. We just need another good versus evil campaign and get people involved. That's not going to work anymore. That's not a viable strategy anymore. That's my entire complaint with the way that the Democratic Party is thinking of handling Wisconsin. They're just going to what? They're just going to they're just going to say, look, this guy has said some outlandish things, and that's good enough. That's good enough for him to lose. What? Your high resolution strategy is to rely on the Republican candidate to make outlandish things, and people are just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to vote for that person. Like, that's not, they voted for Trump. Okay. This is unbelievable. The level of disconnect. The level of disconnect is going to get us all effed. A Planned Parenthood clinic went up in flames and it was arson. A fire that recently ravaged the only Planned Parenthood clinic in East Tennessee was caused by arson. Officials are offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information that leads to the prosecution. The Knoxville News Sentinel reported, meanwhile, Planned Parenthood is ready to rebuild. This is an appalling, heartbreaking act of violence towards Planned Parenthood, our patients, and our community. Unfortunately, this is not the first time we have warned at this health center. Although it takes time to rebuild, we are committed to our patients in East Tennessee and will not let this attack take away the essential healthcare services in which they rely. Look at this. Hey, Samurai and the Kind Dragon, how's it going? This is wild. Last year, the Knoxville Planned Parenthood had been targeted before someone fired a shotgun at the clinic's doors. The 40th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. I would almost be inclined to say that this was probably a domestic terrorist attack. Incidents of arson, battery, assault, vandalism, all spiked in 2020. This is the only one in East Tennessee, by the way. Chances are this is the same person. I don't know. I have no idea of verifying that. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that it's obscene. The fact how much this happens, and nothing. We received reports of anti-abortion individuals shoving, pushing, tripping, spitting on clinic escort staff and others outside the clinic. These reports were particularly disturbing given the public health concerns around COVID, of course. A lot worse stuff happens every day. Maybe you're right. I don't know. The Knoxville Clinic was empty at the time of the fire, which erupted on New Year's Eve. The building had been recently closed for the $2.2 million renovation. Well, thankfully, no one was there. And it was empty. They were talking about how back when the original policies were drafted, they could not transpire in terms of violent backlash a generation later, and how in hindsight they might have been motivated legislators to be more firm than they ended up being back then. Jesus. Yeah. This is the state of the situation here. Not good. It's so weird that the gauntlet that people have to run to get legal surgeries, like crossing a protest line. Like, yeah, this is just asinine. This is just beyond. Another day, another teacher lockout. How's it going? Morning. Just kind of piggybacking off this previous article. The problem is Democrats live within their own insular echo chamber, within that bubble of convenient falsehood spread, go unchallenged, making it harder for focus on the real crisis. Clearly erase some of these myths that are distorting democratic behavior. The whole electoral system is in crisis. Election have 3 phases: registering, casting, counting votes, and then certifying. When it comes to the first 2 phases, the American system has its flaws, but not in crisis. True. That's exactly what I was saying. As UO 11 noted in the Times a few days ago, it becomes much easier in most places to register and vote than it was years ago. We had a 2020 election with a remarkable high turnout. Those votes were counted with essentially zero fraud. Negligible, at least. The emergencies in the 3rd phase, Republican efforts to overturn votes that have been counted, but Democratic Voting Bills for the People Act and its updated Freedom to Vote Act were not overhauled to address the threats that have been blindly obvious since January 6. They've been sprawling measures covering everything from mail-in ballots to campaign finance. They basically include every idea that it's been on activist agendas for years. These bills are hard to explain and hard to pass. By catering to DC interest groups, Democrats have spent a year distracting themselves from emergency right in front of us. Voter suppression efforts are a major threat to democracy given the racial history. Efforts to limit voting some states have been implementing. Our Highness, I get why Democrats want to repel them, but this too is a major crisis facing us. That's because tighter voting laws don't actually restrict voting all that much. Academics have studied this extensively, though a researched study suggested that voter ID does not reduce turnout. States tighten and loosen their voting laws, often seemingly without a big effect on turnout. The general rule is that people who want to end up voting. In other words, you gotta be in tune with your base. You gotta be in tune with your base, and if you win based on a platform, you've got to deliver. Just as many efforts to limit the electorate don't have much of an effect. The Democratic bills to make it easier to vote don't have much of an impact on turnout or which party wins. As my Times colleague Nate Kahn wrote in last April, expanding voting options to make it more convenient hasn't seemed to have a huge effect on turnout or electoral outcomes. That's the finding of decades of political science research on advanced, early, and absentee voting. Higher turnout helps Democrats. This popular assumption is also false. Political scientists Darren Shaw and John Petrosic, authors of the Turnout Myth, looked at 70 years of electoral data and found no evidence that turnout is correlated with partisan vote choice. The best way to address the crisis is top-down. Democrats have focused their energy in Washington trying to pass these bills. These bills override state laws and dictate a lot of election procedures from the national level. Given how local Republicans are behaving, I understand why Democrats want to centralize things, but it's a little weird to be arguing that in order to save democracy, we take power away from local elected officials. Plus, if you tell locals that are not fit to govern themselves, you're going to further inflame the populist backlash. Okay, so in other words, then you strengthen, you focus your efforts on locals, on local elections. Is that what they're saying? RBG and many other local legal scholars didn't agree with the base of Roe v. Wade and thought it came too early. Yeah, but I don't know. The real problem is that Democrats are not focused on crucial state and local arenas. True. The Times Charles... Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. The Times Charles Homans had a fascinating report from Pennsylvania where Trump backers were running for local office, including judge of elections. Yeah, hey, guys, didn't we went through like a article where our very good friend Steve Bannon was saying that his big plan is to motivate and activate people at the local state level, right? And sure enough, in a lot of the cases, it's working, and that's deeply disturbing. We've got to pick it up, because this is not good. Democrats are not to be fighting hard like in key local races. They do not seem rallying the masses, and so that state legislators pay a price if they support democracy weakening legislation. Maybe some of the energy has been spent over the past year analyzing and berating Joe Manchin. It could have been better spent grooming and supporting. That's a weird way of framing it. And supporting good state and local candidates. Fine, fair point. Fair point. Maybe the best way to repulse a populist uprising is by not firing up all your allies in the northwest quadrant of the Washington, D.C. The crisis of democracy is right in front of us. We have a massive populist mob that think the country is now controlled by a coastal progressive oligarchy that looks down on them, are caught in the cycle of polarization that threatened to turn America into Northern Ireland during the Troubles. We have Republican hacks trying to take power away from the brave state officials who stood up to the Trumpian bullying after the 2020 election. Democrats have spent way too much time on measures that they mistakenly would have given them an advantage. The right response would be do the unsexy work at the local level where things are in flux. True. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act that are germane, like the protections for election officials against partisan removal, and measures to limit purging voter rolls. That's good. And reform the Electoral Count Act to prevent Congress from derailing election certifications. Sure. When your house is on fire, drop what you're doing and put it out. Maybe finally Democrats will do that. Wrong. That's a naive thing. But I think that this is a interesting piece. For one, I do agree with the idea that the key is state and local and then federal. I agree with that. Thank you for the follow, Orgamized. I don't know. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. I appreciate that. It's to focus on the state and local. You're absolutely correct, and I think that to further kind of drive that point home, if someone like Steve Bannon gets this, where are we? Where are we? Tying in from that last article, for the Democratic Party to try steer clear from myths as much as they can, it's a distraction and and can often result in electoral damage rather than gain. The only reason I can see them being hesitant is that the actual myth had become very embedded into the population now on both sides of the aisle. Yeah, so here's the thing. I think that like I was saying with the other article, like I agree that it's important to, try to make elections good and elections as accessible and all this. But if you know that you don't have, if you know that you're wasting your time on something that's like not gonna happen right now, right in this situation, versus making your, at least on the federal level, at least what the Democratic Party needs to be doing, is to really, really sit down and get this budget reconciliation to be as robust and as good for the American people as possible, right? Yes, that means providing paid sick and medical leave. Yes, that means providing subsidies, or I guess incentives for more jobs through renewable energy jobs, through the green industry. That goes through by providing community college, 2 years of community college, which was I don't know if that's still in. We're gonna have to find out. Part of the original BBB plan. There was a lot of good stuff that was originally put there that has been slowly just picked out that could be doing really good. And we get much about anything, unfortunately. Not much about anything. Not much of anything. Jesus. The problem is I think Stephen Bannon I think the right and some instances the extreme right have been paying a lot more attention to the research than the left has. The conservatives in the UK, I think, are a perfect example. of research and practice, playing the game in the most efficient way rather than sitting on principles or ideology too much. Well, certainly, I don't know if it's because they know. I mean, I'm sure people like Stephen Bannon understand this concept and have been making significant gains. And it's incredibly disturbing that they are much more effective. I mean, when your base is primarily concerned with the voting federal government and impacting their lives, like, it's easy to see why the government fails and voter becomes jaded the whole process. Yeah, that's another problem. Kinji Khan, that's another problem. When you have a platform and voters deliver the results, voters get out there and vote for you because of your platform, and then you're sitting here not really trying to deliver, at least show a good effort of making an attempt to make their lives better. They're not going to show up and become jaded, and then that's it. Your base isn't going to show up for you if you don't attempt to deliver on the platforms, right? Because it's broken down, I guess, to the most simplest terms. And this is oversimplifying it, but you run on good, robust platforms. People happen to vote for you. You win the election. Then you deliver or make good faith efforts to make sure that you do what you can for the American people. That's your job. That's it. You're a representative. Period. Full stop. That's it. That's the only thing that should happen. But we're not getting any of it. Or at least we got like some good stuff, and then it all seems to be going downhill. I think that's why people are frustrated. At the very least, the right are more adept at incorporating that research into their plan, because a lot of research implies that voters and electors are not as rational as we like to think. Their cynicism about humanity actually accidentally helps them. Huh. Which is really unfortunate when you think about it. Yeah. Running big promises to get elected, don't even attempt to make anything. You said done, rinse, and repeat. Yeah, but then, like, the problem being here is, you're correct. The problem being here is, you lose. You lose. How's it going, Heat? The point is, it's not the federal the point is, it's not the federal government's job to fix the lives of individuals. It's the state and locals where the focus needs to be. Sure. Fine, that's a fair point if you want to make the argument that, you know, the left or the contingency of the left should be focusing on like state and locals and local election. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we need to reorganize or revisit our strategies because yeah, this is not good. Not the left, everyone. Sure, if it's to the benefit. It's Monday? Yeah, that's true. It is Monday. Really frustrating. We've got 2 more articles to go. Past 7 years, hottest on record. Nice. The Copernicus Climate Change Services said 2021 was the 5th warmest year with record-breaking heat in some regions, and the amount of warming gases continues to increase. Governments are committed to limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 to curb climate change, but scientists warn that time is fast running out. Governments aren't committed to do anything about this so far. True, but then state and local governments can control certain elements that are to the detriment of lives of people. For example, local governments cannot infinitely fund programs the way the federal government can, no matter how good they are. True. Sorry, I only got part of that, so I don't know if my take is valid. Hey, how's it going? I don't know if I said hi to you. The environmental, human, and economic costs of hotter temperatures are already being seen globally. True. Europe lives through its hottest, warmest summer. Temperature records in western US, Canada were broken by several degrees. Extreme wildfires in July and August burnt almost entire towns to the ground and killed hundreds. These events are a stark reminder of the need to change the way our ways, take decisive and effective steps towards a sustainable society that works towards reducing net carbon emissions. Reduce carbon emissions, period. I don't know, net. It's to reduce carbon emissions, period. The Copernicus data comes from a constellation of Sentinel satellites that monitor the Earth from orbit, as well as measurements taken at ground level. Copernicus data show that 2021 was the 5th hottest on record, marginally warmer than 2015 and 2018 taken together. The past 7 years were the hottest 7 years on record by a clear margin. The 2021 average temperature was 1.1 to 1.2, above pre-industrial levels around 150 years ago. Nice. It would be easy to dismiss the latest global temperature figure as a non-event. Who celebrates 5th place in anything? If we were in a film, these annual temperature updates would be the ominous drumbeat signaling that the plot is darkening. Right. The 5th, but it continues to, break records. They measure the pace of the change of the world. The increments may be tiny, a fraction of a degree, but the direction of travel is inescapable. And also, like, fractions and, like, a movement of, like, even a degree within such a short amount of time is pretty drastic. It was interesting that it was California that were toying with the idea of implementing some kind of healthcare system to its local citizens that could pose some very awkward questions for the future, but it's also something I've been saying they should experiment with for years, if only because it asked a question. That's right, California is attempting to make its Cali Care a thing. I hope that it becomes successful and a blueprint. And make no mistake, the rhythm they mark out is increasingly set for the pace of all our lives. Think of the fires and floods that affected so many people in 2021, and now looking at what the data is telling us, the 7 hottest years ever recorded have been the last 7 years. True. Can't say we weren't warned. The agency said at the start of the year, relative low temperatures compared to recent years, but by the June, monthly temperatures were at least among the warmest 4 recorded. Places with above average temperature included the west coast of the US, Canada, northeast Canada, Greenland, several and large parts of North and Central Africa, and the Middle East. Yikes. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. The weather phenomenon known as La Niña, when surface sea temperatures are cooler, contributed to below average temperatures in western and eastern Siberia, Alaska, and central and eastern Pacific during the start and end of 2021. Europe's warmest summer. Overall, Europe's annual temperature was outside the 10 warmest years on record, but the summer was the hottest. A heat wave swept through the Mediterranean in July and August, particularly affecting Greece, Spain, and Italy. In Sicily, 48.8 degrees was reported, breaking Europe's record for highest temperature by 0.8 degrees Celsius. The hot temperatures in eastern and central Mediterranean was followed by intense wildfires, in particular Turkey, but also Greece, Italy, Tunisia, and Algeria. Europe also saw extreme wet weather with huge flood events devastating parts of Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. True. These events were part of the same picture of weather systems disrupted by climate change. The concentration of the Earth's atmosphere of the two gases significantly contribute to climate change rose in 2021. Said Copernicus, carbon dioxide concentration reached 414.3 parts per million last year, growing at a similar rate to 2020. Nice. Like, what happens when people from out of state want to come in and get healthcare? What if they're poor? I think that, like, other countries have kind of solved this, right? They basically say, well, you have to pay, but, like, it's such a small fee. Right, it's completely affordable if you get, like, messed up in a country that has universal healthcare. The fee is, like, so small, just to kind of continue to fund the system. Hawaii has near universal healthcare. I want to move there. Nice. Well, mine were a positive note than negative. Like, I always feel that policy is led by example by type situation where if you can prove something works, then you dismantle the counter-arguments to it over time. Yeah, perhaps. I suspect that if they do it right, and have robust funding and make sure that all the, pieces are in place, I think that Cali Care could be successful. And yeah, I mean, like, all of these things, like for example, have been answered by countries that have universal healthcare systems. Like, of course, you're going to be treated, but the fees or the costs are very low. It's completely affordable. Or you can, in some countries, you have what is called like tourist insurance or something like that. It's very cheap. Very cheap. In case something happens to you, you can use that. But it's incredibly cheap. So I think that those are, it's going to be fine. That kind of thing could be key to getting a wider national policy on healthcare, or at least ask the question. True. The arguments have been dismantled. They're easily dismantled. Every way to visit Hawaii contributes to further colonization. Yeah, but like at the same time, do you just like leave people? I don't know. Well, I agree with you that certainly there's a bad history. Certainly, but like, I guess we'd have to ask the Hawaiian people before I speak on that. I live in a country with free healthcare. To be fair, I should preface that I'm obviously not against it. Yeah, of course. Of course. I suspect that like it's not the more difficult questions, right? I don't think that that's the more difficult questions. But scientists have remarked that methane levels in the atmosphere increased to reach an unprecedented approximate 1,876 parts per billion. The growth of methane was also higher than in 2020. Nice. Copernicus said both rates are very high compared to the past 2 decades of satellite data. Scientists said it's important to reduce methane levels because it's more potent than CO2, however it lasts less time in the Earth's atmosphere. The increasing concentration of these gases show no sign of slowing down. Great. Concluded Vincent Henry Push? I don't know. Director of Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Systems. More data about 2021's temperatures will be released in the coming days of other agencies, including NASA and the UK's Met Office. Hey Dustin, how's it going? Right, that's why I said I should hold off and like, really research that part. Because yeah, sure, they want you to visit, but they also want to educate you. Yeah, that's great. Stop it. These ads, I'm telling you. Photos from the king tide show what permanent sea level rise could look like in San Francisco by 2050. 2050, I'd like to remind people, is not really that long. It's 30 years. Okay? 30 years. That's not very long. In case you guys want a glimpse at what the normal could look like, I think that this is a perfect illustration. Not just when king tides happen, but just kind of the norm. Should things continue the way they are, should business as usual continue to happen with no significant changes, no attempt to, course correct, this will be the new norm. This will be the new norm. Water inundated low-lying areas around San Francisco last weekend as the North California region saw some of the highest tides of the year. Experts say that king tides help us understand what impacts of future sea level rise will be, and the photos above, below taken in Mill Valley and Sausalito show roadways and bike paths entirely underwater and water encroaching on buildings. Yeah, look at that. That's a good picture of exactly what it could look like decades to come, which again is well within our lifetime. That's not something that's going to happen in hundreds and hundreds of years. That's not something that's like, oh yeah, no, it's happening right now. And 28 years, quite frankly, isn't that long. Quite frankly, 28 years is but a blip. Is but a blip when it comes to the grand scheme of things, and what the ramifications are for climate change are already underway. These king tides are but a warning, I guess, a prophecy, warning of what the future is going to look like. That's what it is. It's just a glimpse of what the near future can look like. Yeah, there we go, Dustin. An appetizer. An appetizer, because once the main course hits, or rather, once the main course starts arriving, yeah, we're gonna have to start evolving gills. Astronomical tides, or king tides, usually occur in December and January when the sun and moon reach their closest points to Earth, aligning celestial bodies like a perfect cue shot to create maximum gravitation pull. King tides are 1 to 2 feet higher than the average tide. Throughout the year, and this amount of sea level rise, the California Ocean Protection Council sea level rise guidance say that the state will see by 2050 based on current fossil fuel emissions. The council was formed under the California Ocean Protection Act that was signed by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2004, with the intent of maintaining a healthy, resilient, and productive ocean and coastal ecosystem. Yeah, well, it is reasonable to assume that these tides may become a daily occurrence around mid-century. Nice. Dan Hosfield, environmental scientist for Adapting to Rising Tides program at San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development Commission, wrote an email. King tides also show that in addition to permanent impacts of sea level rise, temporary events like rainfall, storm surge, and groundwater rise may create compounding impacts much sooner than anticipated from just the sea level rise alone. Look at that. Look at that. Hosfield said there's an assumption that sea level rise will only affect those who live and work on the immediate shoreline or coast, but projects such as Adapting to Rising Tides Bay Area and UC Berkeley's Riser SF Bay delve into the impacts that sea level rise may bring to our shoreline and inland communities, natural land, transportation networks, and even housing goals without planning and immediate intervention. The Rising Tide Report identifies hotspots that would be impacted by a foot of sea level rise and found that 3,750 households in socially vulnerable communities would be flooded, 1/3 of which are in or near contaminated sites, further complicating protection and remediation. Yeah, some specific areas that could experience a concentration of these consequences from 1 foot of sea level rise without adaptive measures include San Rafael, Richmond, Corte Madera, Larkspur, and Martinez. Yep. There we go. That is the future. That is the near future effects of climate change, should things continue on the same path with no attempt to mitigate or adapt or any of that. Riding your bike through silt water, poor bike. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Welcome to the new normal. In the near future, anyways. My question is, if you have kids, or if you're, I guess, in the older generation, if you have grandkids, what is their future going to look like? What is their kids' future going to look like? Are they going to look back and say, huh, why didn't they do anything about it? Are they going to look back in history and point to you and say, why didn't they do anything about it? That's my question. Should we fail to address this meaningfully in the next generation, or the generation that's coming, are they going to look back and say, why didn't they do anything about it? Or are they going to look back and say, look, they did everything they could? Which one? Which one? Because for a glorious moment, we increased incredible shareholder value. True. Nice meme. Nice meme. Alright folks, unfortunately that is all the time I have today. We did get through all the articles, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there. Thank you so much for the massive raid sourcing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the new follows. I appreciate that. Thank you sourcing. Thank you Heat. Thank you Spread It Forward. Thank you James. Thank you Dakapolion. Thank you Vivian Wolf. Thank you for stopping by. Lawsuit, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate that. Please make sure you support and follow these content creators. Doc, thank you so much for stopping by. Bop Dragon, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you Thandera for stopping by. Make sure, I just want to thank everybody. Dimesh, I see you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. If you guys enjoyed the content, don't forget to follow on your way out, and don't forget the to join the Discord and keep up with the channel there, and take 5 seconds to go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and join us on Saturdays for Saturday Catterday. Bike Shop Guru, how's it going? If that Antarctica doomsday ice fails, we'll see a highly accelerated sea rise at the size of Florida. Yes, that's right. I've been following that. Astro, thank you for hanging out with us. Samline the Kind Dragon, thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate that. Thank you again to all the wonderful folks. Again, just make sure you support these wonderful people. Those that have a little diamond next to them, Heat 420, Lasu, MX Vivian Wolf, and sourcing support, and did I get everybody with the diamond? Pretty sure I did. Follow your wonderful, awesome, friendly content creators, okay? Do it, it's a good thing. Thank you. Have a great day, y'all. You have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Alright, folks, as always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. As always, I love y'all and hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Have a good one. You have a good one. Thank you, Dustin. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your support, too. Raid channel. Alright. Let's go on. Let's head on over to Tina. I actually haven't seen Tina on stream for quite some time. So let's go give some massive ADT love to Tina, alright? Hang tight with us, folks. Hang tight. We're heading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. See ya.